If you told me Tamatoa was going to be a top deck going into the second set, I wouldn't have believed you. Especially if you told me that the reason was because of a 1-cost Sapphire common card. Pawpsicle Ramp Control is the newest, hottest deck right now, and I'm going to teach you how to play it. Let's start with the card that brings this whole deck together. Pawpsicle is a 1-cost inkable Sapphire card that reads, when you play this item, you may draw a card. It also has the second effect of being able to banish this item to remove up to 2 damage from a chosen character. This means that you can cycle through your whole deck extremely quickly while racking up items for Tamatoa later on in the game, or you can just use it to heal your characters to just maintain tempo that you've been building throughout the game. Of course, we all know and love Tamatoa from set 1. If you don't know what it does, I'm going to give you a quick reminder. Whenever this character quests, you can return an item card from your discard pile to your hand, and the character gets +1 lore point for each item you have in play, which when you run this many cheap items is going to be a lot. Now obviously Tamatoa is really expensive, being an 8 cost, so we're going to have some ramp tools to get to that stage. In this deck we're running 1 jump ahead and a Grammatala. We're also running the item Fishbone Quill, which will definitely help us ramp up, as well as get an item for Tamatoa later on. On the topic of items, set 2 gave us a great new item package. Starting with Judy Hopps, when you play this character you can banish a chosen item and this player draws a card. So that means you can banish your opponent's items, or you can banish your own Pawpsicles just to draw an extra card, which means Pawpsicle is drawing you 2 cards basically. The next card is Nick Wild. This card synergizes great with Judy Hopps. Basically whenever you play it, you can just add an item card named Pawpsicle from your discard pile to your hand, meaning that you can just cycle through these Pawpsicles and just draw through your whole deck insanely quick. And if that wasn't enough for you, we also have Hiram Flavisham, which says when you play this character and also whenever he quests, you can banish one of your items to draw 2 cards. So you can play Pawpsicle, draw a card, play Hiram to banish that item, and then draw 2 more cards, and then play Nick Wild to add the Pawpsicle back to your hand to do the same thing turn after turn, which is insane for just generating so much card advantage. And of course, because we're a control deck, we're going to be paired with Ruby, which means we have access to Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, which just says you can banish a chosen character whenever it's played, which is very similar to the Sapphire card Hades, which puts an opposing character into that player's inkwell. So we've got some great forms of removal, especially when we factor in the already great Be Prepared from set 1, which just banishes all characters. It's important to note that you can also sing this. Some new cards from set 2, we've got our Teeth and Ambitions, which is a song, and you can deal 2 damage to a chosen character, and then put 2 damage on your own characters. But your characters are all quite tanky, so that shouldn't be an issue. We're also playing Lady Tremaine, which is an insane control tool, which says whenever you play this character, each opponent chooses and banishes one of their characters. This is a fantastic way to get through Cusco wards, and force your opponent to banish a character, and gives you a whole body as well. And then we have Scar, Vicious Cheater. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you can ready this character back up, but he can't quest. It's just an insane board clear, especially since he has 6 attack, which is a really big number. Overall, that's the game plan. You just want to control the board, cycle through your whole deck with Pawpsicles, and then ramp up to just play big cards like Maleficent and Hades to control the board 1 by 1, Lady Tremaine to control the board even further, Scar to control the board even more, and then once you've got full board control and your opponent's used all their resources, you just go into a big Tamatoa with loads of items, and then just have the Tamatoa quest for a lot. And because Ruby isn't being played much right now, we're not seeing much Dragonfire, so Tamatoa is most of the time relatively safe, especially later on in the game. So this is the deck list I'm going to be using in today's games. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, cool, going first. Looks like our hand's actually not too bad. We have Grammar for ramp, we've also got Fishbone Quill for ramp. Gonna get rid of these uninkables, definitely not gonna need those just yet, and probably get rid of this Let It Go as well. Thinking if I want to get rid of the Nick, I probably should, but I'll keep it for now, just because it's ink. And we have a lot of options as well, so we can go for more of a ramp game plan with Grammatala, or we can control the board with Queen of Hearts, or we can go for a kind of middle ground with Noi. I would like to have a Pawpsicle on the board before I play Noi. I'm going to go ahead and ink this Maleficent just because it's expensive and, you know, we need the options now. And we have a lot more Maleficents in the deck anyway, so when we need it, we'll find it, especially with the amount of cycle this deck has. Opponent's playing Amber. Probably playing like an Alice deck, if I had to guess. Cool, so we can go ahead and ink. I'll probably go ahead and just ink this Grammar. And then I'll just play the Queen of Hearts just for the body. I don't mind trading this Stitch with this Queen of Hearts just because I don't want him to shift into Rockstar. Rockstar Stitch is not really a card that we've seen too much of in set 2, but it still exists, so you have to remember that. Thankfully the opponent's playing quite slow, using their turn 2 on a Be Our Guest, which is always nice to see. Gives us a lot of time to catch up on the tempo. Or we can even go into Fishbone Quill just to ramp. We do need to find some Pawpsicles though, just for some cycle. Especially because we have Judy Hops and Nick Wild in our hand. If we can find a Pawpsicle, then we can just start drawing a lot of cards, and there it is. Fantastic. So I'll probably play the Pawpsicle now to draw a card, give us some options. We see a second Nick Wild, which is great as well. So I'll probably ink this Fishbone Quill, and then go for a Noi. And then I will quest with this Queen of Hearts. Like I say, I don't mind a trade, so that's fine with me. And then next time we can go Judy Hops, get rid of this Pawpsicle, and then go for a Nick Wild to get the Pawpsicle back. And then next time we can go Pawpsicle, use it to maybe heal if we want, and then we can Nick Wild that one back too. And then as you can see, this deck just has a lot of draw, and it just is very consistent, and it just is so good at what it wants to do. So it looks like we are against Amber Steel, which is fine, so I'm going to be expecting more of a mid-range version. We see another Nick Wild. I don't think we need that many of them, but I will go ahead and play this Judy first, just to draw this card. And you know, you always want to see card draw before you start playing cards. So we see a Maui, so I definitely want to keep that, so I'll get rid of this Nick Wild. And then honestly, do I want to quest for 2? No, I think I'll wait. Just because I'm going to get the Pawpsicle back anyway, so it's not worth just getting rid of this Noi for no reason, especially when it's so good. Cool, so there's the Rockstar Shift Stitch. Rockstar Stitch Shift. We do have Maui to get rid of that if it quests. Which it looks quite safe right now, but the threat of Maui is very much still there. And you want to get rid of this as soon as possible. Cool, so it is going to quest. They weren't playing around the Maui at all, so that's good for us. And that should just be game, honestly. I think getting rid of this much stuff is way too strong for us. So we'll definitely ink this Queen of Hearts, go for Maui, and then we'll get rid of that Rockstar Stitch, and then we can honestly... yeah, we can honestly just quest. We can leave this Simba up, it's not going to do much, and I'd rather get 4 quests on the board, because it just applies so much pressure. And like I say, next turn, again, we can just go Nick Wild, and then we can get Pawpsicle from Nick. Or we can even go Lady Tremaine, which is a really good tool. If they quest with this Simba, then we can, and they pay 5 for something big, we can just Lady Tremaine it, which is really strong. And one thing to notice as well is like every card's questing for 2, which is crazy. So you have all these crazy effects, and they're also just like questing for a lot and just applying so much pressure to your opponent, while supplying you with so much card advantage. So there's a grab your sword and a trade. That's fine, I'm totally fine with this. It just resets the board for us. So we can just go Nick Wild, use the effect to get a Pawpsicle back, and then we can play the Pawpsicle to draw another card. I'm probably going to ink this Grammar. Yeah, we'll just ink this Grammar, and then we'll pass. And just like that, we've just started back up our tempo and just like consistent card draw, and we can get rid of Pawpsicle whenever we want just to remove the damage counters, and then play Nick Wild to get it back. Like I say, we still got access to Lady Tremaine. Well, I guess not anymore, but we've got 7 new cards, and we should just be fantastic from here, right? We can just go like, we'll start with Pawpsicle to draw a card. Okay, cool, we'll go with Pawpsicle to draw another card. And then we can probably just go like 1 jump ahead. No point in singing it. We can ink this Teeth and Ambitions. I don't think they're going to play anything small. And then I can just go Shield, and then play Noi, and then I can quest with this. And as you can see already, if I can get Tamatoa next turn, it's going to be questing for 5, and Amber Steel has nothing, has no options to deal with 8 health. Especially if it's questing for 5, it's going to be applying so much pressure, and it's basically lethal in like 2 turns with these cards as well. So Amber Steel just has no way to deal with this. And then if they play anything big here, we've just got like basically 3 Dragonfires like back to back to back. So the opponent really needs to find some good tools here. And then if they use Whole New World again here, then we're just going to win the game because they just spent 2 turns doing nothing essentially. So there's Tinkerbell, and like I say, it doesn't really do anything, especially because now resist exists as well. The Tinkerbell ping doesn't do anything initially, and then it's like subsequent pings are only be doing 1 damage. So we actually can't play Maleficent because we've only got 8 ink, but it's fine. I'm fine to sit at 8 ink honestly, but we can just go Hades, put it into the inkwell, and then we can just quest our way to victory, and like that I'm pretty sure we're just going to win the game from here. We have Pawpsicles to heal our units fully, we have Shield of Virtue to protect them if they quest, and yeah, like I say, if we get Tamatoa, it's just game over, more than it already is. So the opponent's also going to have to play through another Hades and a Maleficent, and then if they decide to go wide, we can just use Scar, which has Rush, so we have options for if they go wide or if they go tall. And it looks like they're going to go tall again with Tinkerbell, and we'll just do the same thing with Hades. Cool, so there's Tamatoa, so part of me wants to just go Tamatoa honestly, and I think I will. And then basically, because I've quested with all of this, they have to get rid of this Tamatoa with 8 health using Amber Steel, which just isn't going to happen. There's not a single card they can use to stop this. So yep, that'll be a really nice win actually. Okay, so another solid mulligan here. It looks like probably likely to keep a lot of this, but definitely get rid of the Be Prepared. Won't need that. We might as well get rid of this Maui, and then I'm actually okay to keep the rest of this. We have a lot of options for turn 2. Like I say, if we want to control the board, and we see 2 Pawpsicles, so that there is just on its own insane. So I actually want to get rid of this, probably get rid of this Queen of Hearts. I think Noise probably better, especially if we have Pawpsicles down already. So we'll already start this little Pawpsicle loop. We also have Hiram Flavisham, which I think is how you pronounce that. This card is insanely good. Right, so we can play it, we can get rid of Pawpsicle, draw 2 more cards, which means Pawpsicle's drawing us 3 cards, and then we can play this Pawpsicle here, and then when he quests, we can draw another 2. So we're drawing 6 cards basically off of just those 3 cards, and then if we can find Nick Wild, then we're going to start cycling that more, just draw for our whole deck, create a huge item, like, catalog, I guess, to play Tamatoa, which will just enable us to quest for a lot. So it looks like we're going to be in the mirror match here, which is great. I'm happy to play a mirror match, especially with this hand. So we can go ahead and play Maleficent. Ink Maleficent, sorry. It might have been good to keep it actually, but I know the opponent's not going to be playing that many Tamatoas. So honestly, I think at this point in the game, we can just go ahead and play 1 jump ahead and just ramp up a little bit. And then next time we can go for Hiram and just start drawing our cards that way. I think this mirror match is probably all about card advantage, so as long as we have more cards in our hand than our opponent, we should be pretty good to go. I don't think cards like Queen of Hearts is going to be doing much. So opponent is going to ink a Mickey and pass. That's great for us. We can go ahead and ink probably one of these Teeth and Ambitions, and then we can just go for Hiram, and then we'll use the effect to get rid of Pawpsicle and draw 2. Cool, and then next turn, honestly, I'll probably just play Pawpsicle and then quest with the Hiram again and just draw us a lot of cards. We're mainly just looking for Nick Wild here. It's actually going to be Emerald Ruby, so it looks like it's going to be a Floodborn deck to make us discard cards, which is totally fine. So I can probably play... Sure, I'll play this Pawpsicle first just to see what we get and then see what our options are. We see Tamatoa, which is great, so we can probably ink one of these Hirams. I don't think we need 2 of them. And I'm going to just play this Noi, just because it's going to have resist. Which means we can get rid of this Bucky, which might be a little tricky actually. I'm debating if I want to actually just draw some more cards, which, you know, it sounds good to me, especially because we have some ink to play with. Cool, and we see a Grammar, so I can probably just go ahead and ink this Grammar. Oh, well, I guess I accidentally misclicked and played it, but that's fine as well. Yeah, slight misclick there, but you know, you get the picture. So the opponent looks like they're playing like a Shere Khan, kind of like burn deck maybe. but it doesn't worry me too much. What I can do is I can ink this Noi. I don't think we're going to need another one. And then I can just quest with all of it, really. And then we can play Gaston to look at top 3, grab a card. So we'll probably want to grab this Nick Wild just to start looping the Pawpsicles again. I should have ordered that a bit differently, so if they play the Shere Khan, they can get rid of this Hiram, but if they do that, then I can just trade Grammar into it. And it seems like their deck might be based around this kind of gaining 1 lore every time you attack, so I'm fine to get rid of this key piece, especially since I have another Hiram in hand. Well, Ducey Mario, that is a slight issue. But nothing too crazy. I'm actually fine with them trading here because we can just go Be Prepared and then reset for the next turn. Be Prepared is kind of what you want to go for a lot of the time in this game. So what I can do is I can sing 1 jump with Grammar, and then I can quest with the Gaston, ink this Teeth and Ambition, and then we can just reset the board state with Be Prepared. And then from here we can start going for Hiram Flaversham plus Nick Wild, which will just draw us a lot of cards. Obviously you want to make sure you put the Nick Wild first, play Pawpsicle, and then play the Hiram, and that's going to draw you 3 cards. And then we can start, just like I say, reset the board state with Be Prepared, and then just build your hand advantage, card advantage, and then go into big Tamatoas. Cool, so we do see a Pawpsicle already, which is great. So I probably want to go Nick Wild, take a Pawpsicle back, play 1, hopefully we find some more items. Fishbone Quill's great too, but I'll probably play Pawpsicle first, just to see the options. We have another Be Prepared, which is really good. So what I can do, my opponent only has 2 cards in hand, so I can probably just play for a Be Prepared next turn, and then go into a big Tamatoa. So I will ink this Maleficent, I think. And then I'm not going to ink anything with the Fishbone Quill. I want my opponent to play all their cards here, and then we just go Be Prepared. We are, as fast as we might be going, we are still a control deck at heart, so we do want to control the opponent. That means kind of just letting them play into your stuff. So we see another Flim Rider. They're not going to be questing for like anything. I think they're questing for 1 at the moment, which is fine. See another Fishbone Quill, so what I can do is I can totally go Be Prepared, and then I can ink this Fishbone Quill, and then I will actually draw some more cards here. Cool, I'm totally happy with that. And then even if Tamatoa is questing for free, because it has such high health, it's gonna get so much value every time, especially in this deck. Lady's Remain is quite annoying, makes us get rid of our Hiram. Like I say, it's totally fine. We are still definitely in a really strong position, just based off card advantage alone. And yeah, we can start going for our Tamatoa now. And we can add a Pawpsicle back because we played him, which is going to allow us to draw more cards. And then we're just going to ink this Grammar. Cool, so there's an argument there to ink something else and then play the Grammar in case they play Lady Tremaine. And then we can just Lady Tremaine away the Grammar rather than the Tamatoa, which is probably a correct play actually now I'm saying it out loud. Yeah, but they do only have 2 cards in hand. I'm assuming it's going to be Prepared, just because they've quested. Oh, I guess not. They're going to protect the Lady Tremaine, and then go into a Flim Rider, which is totally fine with me. So I go Hiram here just to draw some cards and get that card advantage, get rid of a Pawpsicle of course. And then we find Nick Wild, which will get us back a Pawpsicle, which will draw us another card. So just replacing itself there and just like cycling through your whole deck. And then I can use Let It Go on one of these cards, but I think it's probably better here just to go for another item of Fishbone Quill, and then we just quest for 6 with Tamatoa. And then we can add back another Pawpsicle. and then we can just get rid of this Maui, honestly. I think the Let It Goes are just better at this point. And then play the other Pawpsicle. And yeah, as you can see, we're just constantly gaining cards and just making these big Tamatoas, and the opponent just doesn't really have any options of what to do. If they do play something big, we can just use Let It Go, and because we can sing that as well, we haven't even spent the ink. Cool, and there's another win. So hopefully I showcased the deck pretty well for you guys today. Other than that, comment what other decks you want to see, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.